This is the Water Quality Association podcast.
It's a continuing challenge for the industry. It's a continuing challenge for WQA to find our voice, to find collaboration in a way that we come to whomever that may be, legislators, regulators, the broad public, to say, we're here. We have a legitimate, demonstrated, proven performance of a technology that fits people's needs, fits into people's budgets, fits within their desire for better water quality.
That's WQA's Tom Bruursema discussing the water treatment industry as he looks back over his career. And welcome to the podcast from the Water Quality Association, where we promote the betterment of water quality around the world. Find us at WQA.org. I'm Wes Bleed. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a show, and be sure to check out our podcasts on YouTube. Our guest is Tom Bruursema, who is retiring as Chief Operating Officer at WQA. Over a career spanning 4 decades, Tom has helped shape the modern water treatment industry. In our conversation, Tom looks back on how water treatment has moved from being seen primarily as a quality of life upgrade to a legitimate health and safety solution, and why industry standards and collaboration have been essential to building public trust. We also talk about leadership, mentoring, the opportunities ahead for the next generation, and why Tom believes the future of water treatment is stronger than ever. Plus, we'll have our WQA tip. It's all coming up on the Water Quality Association podcast. Tom Bruursema is retiring from his position as Chief Operating Officer at WQA. Tom has spent virtually his entire career in the water treatment industry, 30 years with NSF International, where for a time he was the general manager of drinking water treatment units and environmental and research science. He joined WQA in 2018. And contrary to the kind of popular expression, you might say, nice guys finish last, well, Tom is an exception to that rule because he is one of the nicest guys in the water treatment industry and certainly one of the most successful. So, Tom, with that, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Wow, that's a wonderful introduction, Wes. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and sorry to see you retire. I mean, you know, in so many ways, obviously a job well done, well-deserved retirement and all of that, and congratulations, of course.
Thank you.
But I know there are going to be a lot of people who will hate to see that, you know, you're going, if you will, and they won't see us at so many conferences and conventions any longer. But having said that, let's get a sense of why you are doing what you're doing at this time in your career. Sure.
Yeah. You know, I think everybody through their career, right, has a reflection point, a time when they come to think, you know, is there a transition in life that makes sense for whatever reasons, right? A variety of considerations. And I don't think you really know until you get there. And I can say I didn't know that until maybe 6 to 8 months ago. It just seemed like it was a good time for me. Personally, I think it's a good time for the organization as I look at WQA and its transition and its future and bringing some others into this opportunity for what is just a tremendous industry and tremendous growth and tremendous organization. So a little bit of making room for others to advance their opportunities and a chance for me to look beyond a long career and look at other things in life that I'm encouraged by and excited about.
Very good. So when you do look back over your career, and it's probably hard to believe it's that many years, but when you look back, what's been the biggest change in the industry?
Yeah, so I came into this industry in '85, a little over 40 years ago, and I think the biggest change really is just in how the industry views themselves, right, as a really significant accepted solution in the marketplace. I think before, in the early years, it was still finding its way, looking for where is the fit, where is the acceptance, where is the ability to prove that they have a technology that should be taken seriously, that has a place in the spectrum of water quality needs, water quality treatment opportunities. And I think the industry, through a variety of ways, whether it's through the types of companies that have continued to evolve in this space, the technology developments that have advanced, the standards that have enabled proof of performance and capabilities and safety. I think all those things have been a journey for this industry, which I've been excited to be a part of. I think it really has been a dramatic change in that 40-year period as I think about where it was then and where it is now and where it's on track to get to. So I think it's just the maturity, the development, the growth, the advancement, and largely the acceptance and the need for these kind of technologies.
Yeah, speaking of the need, I think there's been a change where people have been able to observe that we're no longer just the softener guys. And there's been a real sense of, hey, we're doing something for the health and safety of the public because good, clean water is something that everybody needs. And there are more than just issues regarding water softening that are in play. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of go back over in your mind when that happened, how that happened, what was that shift like, and what did you observe about it?
Yeah, so I've had the fortune to also travel internationally, and there are certainly parts of the world that are continuously challenged with the kind of water sources, the kind of water quality issues, and I think they historically have seen in-home treatment as just a critical part of everyday life, no different than any other kind of appliance we all think of as a critical part of our everyday life. So I think if you look globally, water treatment as a necessity, as an assumed critical piece of their infrastructure within their home is pretty common. I think in the U.S., North America in general, developed countries, frankly, in general, I think we've had a very fortunate benefit of having good quality central treatment water and well systems, well-provided waters, decent quality waters that really haven't kind of pushed us into concern around just general health and risk associated with water. And I think that's still true today. So as you look at the softener industry years ago, right, it wasn't, we have a health risk that we need to solve, as is true in many other countries around the world. But we've got a quality of water that just isn't ideal for our quality of life or our appliances. And so we need to do something with the hardness. And so it was a sensible place to begin for the environment that we've lived in. But since then, right, there have been truly health risks, health concerns that have continued to be relevant. Lead, clearly one that had probably the biggest awareness amongst the general public, and I think even amongst the general clinical medical community environment around the real health considerations with lead. We've got others that are continuing to come forward. Arsenic, another historical one, but PFAS more of late, and others, right? There is a long list of what we call emerging contaminants that are continuing to be identified. We have ever advancing analytical capabilities that is helping us to identify those contaminants and at different levels. And I think all those have contributed to both consumer awareness and then industry response. And we have an incredibly robust industry of technology capabilities. And frankly, not so different than what we have on the municipal side. We've adapted a lot of those to the point of use and point of entry side in many similar ways. But I think even beyond that, this industry has looked to adapt technology to convenience factors within a home, to maintenance conveniences and treatment capabilities. So I think the market has changed. I think the opportunity side of what this industry is facing has changed. And it's truly becoming more of a how do we make good water better? And I think that will be an ongoing need. And I think this industry is well positioned to meet it.
And you've touched on this, but I want to ask it a little bit more in depth. And that is we've got science, we've got regulation, and we've got the industry. And those three things have to have some level of balance. How has that evolved over the years, and where do you think it is right now?
Yeah, interesting, right? So for sure the science drives the standards, it drives the technology, right? That is the foundation. So we know what we have to treat. We know what levels that we're evaluating against, what kind of instrumentation technology enables that. So that is the grounding in which I think all things come from when we look at how these technologies are recognized, how they're shown to perform. Regulation has been a bit of I would say, evolving over the years. Clearly, we know on the municipal public water supplies, for which there are standards, that is a heavily regulated marketplace. So for any of the municipal products, pipes, sealants, valves, right, all of that has a material safety component to it. Not as much a performance, but a material safety. So that has been heavily regulated and continues to be. The drinking water treatment units, as we call them, the point of use, point of entry water filtration products, certain states have at times regulated those. That's been an ongoing consideration, I think. But I think where this industry has really stepped forward and made a commitment is having strong industry standards against which they test and certify through third-party independent laboratories. And the strength of that, right, is that they can stand behind rigid criteria that they have committed to in evaluating their products. And I think that has helped to bring confidence to consumers, bring confidence to regulators, that there is a means by which you can show on a product in a listing that, in fact, it has demonstrated performance, has demonstrated safety. So I think the regulatory side of it becomes less critical when you have that kind of a commitment and that kind of an infrastructure to enable companies to demonstrate product performance and safety. So it's been an ever-evolving, I think, landscape, and I'm sure it will continue to be. But the industry really has stepped forward in important ways.
Does something come to mind when you think about progress that you're most proud of, not just technology or a certain kind of product, but maybe just the way the industry operates that you could think of that might be important for our members to hear about?
To me, I think, and I've reflected on a little bit here in my earlier responses around the industry standards. So that process, right, that is a process that companies choose to spend time, invest in, give expertise, and do it collaboratively amongst competitors, essentially, right? They're not only manufacturing competitors, if you will, but certification competitors, right? All those individual companies who all have their self-interests all come together collectively and define and determine what are the appropriate standards, including regulatory officials in that process as well. It's a consensus building process. So I think the industry should be really proud of the work they've done, the commitment they've made, despite an environment, right, which you would maybe look at and go, that seems a little interesting, right, that these kind of people would all come together when they all have their own self-interests and they're all competitors in some ways, but they all know the reality that if they don't have that kind of an infrastructure of robust standards, robust criteria by which to have as a basis to show performance, that then, it's what this industry had decades ago, which is a lot of people questioning, right? There's no good way to know a water going in and a water coming out has really changed for most contaminants, right? There isn't a good way to know that. Now, you can say there's some taste and odor considerations, sure, more on the aesthetic side, but you don't know if lead has been removed, you don't know if PFAS has been removed. You have to have that third-party independent confidence around technology standards. And this industry has really stepped up to and committed to that. And I think they should be proud of all the work they've done and continue to do in that space.
And conversely, do you think maybe there are some opportunities the industry has been either slow to arrive at or maybe has even missed that you would love to see them revisit in the coming years?
I think it still views itself as a smaller part of the grand spectrum of water treatment, right? When you think about the public water supplies and all the treatment that's done centrally and kind of where this fits. And I think it's a continuing challenge for the industry. It's a continuing challenge for WQA to find our voice, to find collaboration in a way that we come to whomever that may be, legislators, regulators, the broad public, to say, we're here, we have a legitimate, demonstrated, proven performance of a technology that fits people's needs, fits into people's budgets, fits within their desire for better water quality. So that's a journey, right? And I think we've come a long way on that journey, but I think there are opportunities there for us to have a stronger voice, a stronger position, and not feel in any way that we are lesser to anything else that's happening in the space of water treatment. And in fact, I think if you look at the trajectory of the economics and of the demand, we should feel confident that we are every bit as important and every bit as part of the conversation leading to the kind of the long-term opportunities around good quality water in every home.
Let's carry that forward and continue to look ahead at what developments, either technological, regulatory, cultural, generational, what do you think is going to define the next chapter of water treatment?
Yeah, great question, right? It's a crystal ball forecasting. And, I think this industry is quick to respond, right? As new contaminants, and we've got technologies that cover such a broad range now. I don't think there's probably anything that's overly surprising or shocking that would come to this industry in terms of a need that we couldn't adapt to relatively quickly. So I think we're in a good position from a technology availability standpoint. I think the challenge is going to be, how do the next generations feel about the quality that is being provided to them? Do they take heed to the kind of information that gets shared around potential risks and contaminants in water supplies? Do they think seriously about it? Do they think as a part of their overall health considerations? I think more than ever, right, all of us pay greater attention to, the kind of ingredients that are in our food, the kind of food we're eating, the kind of presumably water we're drinking and the quality therein. So I think the environment is good for future generations to have better choices than past generations when it comes to opportunities for continued improvement in health in general and things that impact that, and having that awareness and information. Obviously, the internet is massive in being able to inform and educate and have easy, quick access, whether that's searching for a technology or searching for just general water quality concerns and issues and things that they're paying attention to. So I think it's an environment that's good for anyone that wants to spend time with it and pay attention to it and give consideration to it. And hopefully the information that's being provided is certainly something that WQA continues to focus on, as I'm sure do our members, in informing and sharing information with consumers to help guide them and educate them in their choices.
Looking to our next gen and those young professionals getting involved, maybe they're just entering or thinking about just entering the water treatment space. What would you tell them? Where would you tell them to focus in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, there is such a broad range of ways to get involved with water in general, right? I think it depends on the individual, right, what they're interested in. If it's science, I think there's a tremendous amount of science opportunities. If it's more in marketing communications, I think there is a great deal of education and information that needs to be continued to be presented in ways that consumers can respond to and absorb and understand. I think if it's in sales, if it's in manufacturers, the water industry is in a growth pace right now, and a size and a significance that I think any young professional that has interest in a wide range of basic fundamental career paths, considering water is genuinely one to think about as a place to bring those core strengths, those core skills that they're developing and look to as an industry, right? There's many industries, obviously, they can do that in, but certainly water in general is a platform that I don't think has any downsides in the near future, certainly probably not in the far future, just given the continued need and demand. Any young professional, I would encourage them, whatever path they're choosing to take, to think about how the water industry fits with that skill set and the kind of companies that are growing and developing every day with opportunities.
You've had the opportunity to be in the leadership within the industry, not just I shouldn't say just, but not a member per se, but somebody who's actually been a leader. And you've been a leader in business. And I'm wondering if any of those lessons that you've been learning have applied just beyond water treatment. What in general about business, organizations, and so forth have you learned that you feel has been among the most significant lessons in life?
Yeah, there are, absolutely, right. And I've, occasionally been in other aspects of the industry, and all those, are things you kind of build your base around and your experiences around. And I've told this to many people. Some of my greatest strengths that I've come in my career have come from observing and being part of mentoring of others, and whether those were intentional mentoring or simply just observing. And I think there's a lot for young professionals to gain for organizations that provide for that access, right, to people that have kind of gone through a lot in their career, whether that's just in general culture, general communication, style, approach. There's so many things that you can observe and take awareness and decide whether it fits. It may not be something you see in everyone. That is something you aspire to be or admire. But this industry, many industries have tremendous leaders that I think bring a lot of mentoring opportunities, and I've certainly aspired to do that, to kind of give back, if you will, in that way, for people to have that opportunity with me as well. But I do think there are opportunities that I've had in my career that I'm thrilled to have had those paths open up for me. And I think it's just simply watching, being aware, being able to absorb and change as you think about the things you're doing and who you're working with and how you build teams and how you build organizations. I appreciate all those individuals that have kind of come before me and helped me to see how that can be done in an effective way. And I think it's important for others to take advantage of that, because I think that we have an industry full of tremendous leaders. You won't have access to all of them, but if you make an effort, you can have access to a lot of them. And that's where things like convention and events that come together, bring individuals together, are great opportunities for professionals to see and hear and be a part of.
And final question, continuing on that theme, any final thoughts or words of advice to members or those watching and listening who may not be members but are considering it? What would you say to them as we finish up the interview?
So and I think you alluded to this, I've been with NSF with NSF for 30 years. I was on the member side, and then the last 7 years here with WQA and the association side. And so I've kind of, I guess I've seen both as a member and within the organization. And I think my takeaways from both sides, whether on staff or as someone contributing to the organization, and I think it's a classic example of an association, right? The intent is that there's more opportunity for everyone when you collaborate together and join together on a common direction, a common mission, a common vision. And the bigger the tent, if you will, the more voices that you have coming into that place, the more you can get to a better place. And so, when you're not part of that conversation is happening. When you're not there and you're not present, you don't get the benefit of hearing other people's perspective and how their views help guide and direct, but you also don't have the opportunity to be influential in helping to guide and direct that conversation. So I would say to anybody that's part of this industry and isn't part of WQA, give consideration to that, even if it's, come to an event, join a committee, just get somehow involved where you get an entry into what that world looks like and what the opportunities are there. It's a vibrant industry. It's been vibrant. Its future is, in my opinion, just substantial and spectacular. And And if you're excited about that, then you should be excited about being part of an association that really is on the front line, helping to drive those growth, those opportunities, those visibilities, and be part of the conversation to help influence it. So I would encourage anyone to at least give it a consideration, understand what we do, understand what the industry does as an association. If it's a fit for you, great. If not, that's fine. But I certainly would give it some time to consider it.
Tom Bruursema, retiring Chief Operating Officer from WQA. Tom, pleasure to know you. Appreciate your involvement in the industry and the association and all you have contributed. And as I said earlier, a lot of people will be sorry to see you go from your full-time position, but we certainly hope that you'll still be able to add your voice and wisdom along the way as you not fade into the sunset, but you're out there running and enjoying life in a new chapter. So we appreciate your doing this, and thanks for your time today.
My pleasure, Wes. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
And our WQA tip. Now's the time to register for the 2026 WQA Convention and Expo. It's coming up April 28th through the 30th, 2026 in Miami Beach, Florida. You'll find education, innovation, networking, and business opportunities all in one place. Why should you attend? Well, learn from industry experts, see the newest tech and products, and grow your network. Do this now. Register and book your hotel room in the official WQA hotel block. Go to wqa.org/convention. See you in Miami Beach. Thanks for joining us for the Water Quality Association podcast. Learn more about water and water filtration at our consumer website, betterwatertoday.org. And learn more about professional certification, the Gold Seal Product Certification Program, and how you can become a member at WQA.org.